Crazy Nfamily is pissed that I'm not giving my sister my babies. I'm 21 and have 2-week-old twin girls. My sister is 28 and has had 14 miscarriages, not counting 2 babies born super early that didn't make it. She gets pregnant pretty easily, but she usually loses the babies within the first trimester. She lost one in second trimester and made it to the third trimester 3 times. One resulted in my 4-year-old niece that she has now, and the other 2 babies the doctors refused to save. I'm not against having kids, but I definitely wanted to wait until I graduated with my degree and was married to my so. From the start my mom says I should give my babies to my sister since she deserves it more than I do. And sister, who was never really an N before this incident, completely agrees. I tell them hell no and mom calls me a selfish bitch. I go LC with the both of them, and all throughout my pregnancy my sister is texting me begging me to give just one baby up, since I have one to spare of course. Ignore all of her messages. The last time I saw her was when I was about 23 weeks pregnant and we went out to lunch. She started blabbing about keeping my babies again, so I paid for my meal and left and went NC. I don't use Facebook much, but a couple of days ago I logged on to look through my so's photos to find his baby photos. He looks so much like our daughters. Well, I got about 100 threatening messages from family and friends about how I stole my sister's babies and ruined her life. I'm confused as hell and looking through my sister's page, and she has a freaking nursery for my babies. I find a bunch of posts say about how generous I am for going through the pregnancy and giving my sister the babies. I don't know if people think they're biologically hers and I was a surrogate, or if I'm just giving her my kids, but the crazy bitch told everyone I was giving her the babies. She has my pictures of them in the NICU saying how she can't wait to bring them home. I can't even wrap my mind around this. She even changed their names and these posts go back months. She seriously needs therapy. Anyway, if she tries to go near me or my kids I'm getting a restraining order. This is ridiculous. DLDR, crazy ass mom and sister are under the assumption that I was supposed to give the babies to my sister. Also, I already talked to a lawyer, just didn't put it in the post. I have an appointment in a few days and was advised not to respond to any of the messages or threats. Edit 2, yes, I do realize I probably posted under the wrong sub. She's not an N, just psycho. It's probably was more suited for /r/relationships, but they would have been saying crazy crap that gets you banned here, so I like it here much better. Out of 163 comments there has been one offensive comment, and that's awesome. Anyway, it's 3 a.m. Babies are asleep, I feel like crap and I'm going to sleep. That is scary. Please be very careful. Family kidnappings do happen. I wish I could say something useful, but I'm just stunned. I can't imagine going through that. Is there any way what she has done constitutes a threat of taking them? That might be enough for an order. I would do everything you can to protect your babies from her. Congratulations, BTW. That time my sister took me camping. I grew up in a household with a narc dad and a borderline mom who often left us for long periods of time to do God knows what. When I was 12 I learned that I had a half-sister, who was 17 and living in another town a few hours away. She had problems in her house too, although mainly economical problems, not actual neglect caused by ill will. We wrote letters to each other, and in one letter I shared with her my fear of the long summer holiday. Being stuck in the house without even school to escape to was hell. She made a promise to come and save me if it got too bad. Just let me know and I'll find a way to help, she wrote. A few days after I had posted my letter where I told her about how my mother had stopped providing meals, and my dad was emotionally and sometimes physically abusive, she showed up on our doorstep. She told my dad that I was going to spend the summer holiday with her family, and since my dad hated kids, myself included, he happily agreed, no questions asked. We took the night train north. I was so excited. She didn't take me home with her, she took me camping. We spent the entire summer hiking amazingly beautiful trails, usually tenting, but sometimes renting a small cabin for the night. It was the happiest summer of my life. I suddenly had a sister, who cared and enjoyed spending time with me. She could fish and trap birds, and cook, and showed me how to read maps and the names of the constellations in the night sky. When the summer ended I was transformed. I wasn't shy or confidence deprived anymore. I was a strong and resilient kid with an entirely new outlook on things. I reported my parents for lacking parenting skills and I was placed with a foster family. Neither of them made a fuss to keep me, so it was easily done. I often think about that summer, that changed my life so profoundly. I don't know if it was that I gained a sister, or that she showed me that I can survive, and thrive, even on the roughest, unmarked trails. It wasn't until years later that I learned the real story behind that summer. At the time when she made me that promise, My sister lived with her family in a tiny apartment, with no place for yet another person or another mouth to feed. In fact, she had been told to get out herself as soon as possible, to make room for her siblings, and she was now awaiting the day when she could move into her student apartment. I was amazed to hear that not only was our wonderful summer an emergency solution, her way to keep her promise and also give me an unforgettable summer dash, but she did it so well that I never once realized that we were there because we had nowhere else to go. Today I turned 30. My sister is still my best friend, and this summer we plan to hit the trails again. Also, thank you all for your kind comments. I'm stunned. For those who wonder about the trail, this is it, link 1 in description. This is beautiful. Thank you for sharing this. I loved reading this story. I have 2 older sisters who have saved me several times throughout my life as well. My father was physically and emotionally abusive, and I can still remember many times where my sisters put themselves in harm's way to keep him from hurting me. It was Christmas, sometime in the early 90s. He was mad, like always, and backed me into a corner. My sister saw it happening, ran to me and blocked him from me. She knocked me over and covered my entire body with hers, kind of like a mama bear covering her cub during a snowstorm. Instead of him hitting me, he hit her. I remember her crying onto the back of my shirt as she continued to cover me from it. I felt horrible while it happened. After he finally stopped, he walked away. She picked me up, told me she loved me, and that she would always protect me. Our bond is strong. Saw a dad in the store shopping for back-to-school stuff. She looked like she was 14 or 15. We were all in the underwear aisle. She looked so embarrassed. She turned to him and said, "Dad, I need underwear." He looked at her, then said, "Do you want me to turn around?" She said yes in the smallest voice. He turned his back to her. She looked through the underwear, got what she wanted and put it in the cart. Then she said, "I'm finished." He turned around and said, "Honey, if you're uncomfortable with me doing something like this with you, just tell me. I can go do something else. I don't want you to feel embarrassed. I know it's weird to be in this aisle with your dad. In fact, I think you're old enough to come back here by yourself next time." She smiled and said, "Thanks, Dad." He smiled back and said, "Thanks for not asking me if they were cute like you did with your dresses." I almost cried, like I laughed, but tears welled up in my eyes. He respected her privacy and rights as an individual. He respected her boundaries. He acknowledged her feelings and validated them. He encouraged her in her independence. My dad never did those things. He was gross. He asked me very invasive questions. Seeing that reminded me that my dad sucked, but that there are awesome dads in the world. To all you awesome dads out there, thanks. Wait, so parents and children can go shopping together without inducing trauma? No inspirational clothes bought 2 sizes too small? No intentional public humiliation? What a time to be alive. Seriously, I'm so grateful that there are parents out there respecting their children as actual people. Must be lovely. This made me smile. Thank you for sharing. Cops knocked down my dorm door because mom lied to get me back. I attend college in Arizona, and mom and stepdad live in Maine. I've gotten very little contact with them over the 3 years I've been in school. The summers I've managed to get a job or internship to keep me out here. 4 months ago mom sent me an email telling me I was coming to Thanksgiving. She wanted the family together and had a photographer coming to take photos, so we could fake being a happy family for a few hours. I told her I would not be coming because of my job on campus. She then called the school, who told her that I'm over 18, therefore they can tell her anything. When she threatened to pull me out, the awesome lady at the registers told her good luck. He's on a full scholarship, and pays for everything himself. When she realized she couldn't lie to the school, she had dad call me to beg me to come. This guy stood by since I was 12 and watched my mom beat me, degrade me, lie about me, and did nothing. F him. I ignore his calls. She then called my bio dad, who laughed at her and hung up. We have our issues, but he's genuinely a good guy who's dealt with mental health issues his entire life. So Thanksgiving I woke up. School was closed that day, so I didn't actually have to work. Went to the gym, enjoyed a leisurely breakfast at my favorite cafe. I came home and was getting ready to throw laundry in the washer and make myself chicken and noodles in my crock-pot when my door was pretty much knocked down. Campus cops and outside cops. Guess whose mom called and said her son told his 13-year-old sister, I don't talk to my siblings because they're easily swayed by Nmom, that he was going to bomb the school. Yeah, so after a trip to the campus police building, them searching my room and car and finding nothing, my RA and 2 floor mates defending me, and me showing emails of my mom threatening me I'd be sorry for not coming to Thanksgiving, they apologized. I was allowed to go back to my dorm and the RA, and I managed to put the door back on. Then my grandma calls, guess who was arrested for making a false police report? If you guessed my mom, you'd be right. Then my grandma calls, guess who was arrested for making a false police report? If you guessed my mom, you'd be right. This gave me warm fuzzies. Yay on the cops. Narcs so rarely get real consequences for their BS. I'm sorry you've had to live with that for so long, but so glad she finally got what she deserved. I'm glad it turned out as well as it did. At this point, I'd be talking to an attorney about 1. Getting a restraining order, 2. Sending her a cease and desist letter, 3. Whether you have a case for civil action. You might not. It wasn't your door that got knocked off the hinges, it was the school's, and other than a couple of hours of inconvenience, you suffered no damages. 4. Setting up a power of attorney arrangement with someone you trust so that if you are, say, incapacitated after an accident, she is not the one who has medical rights over you. Maybe your dad? It's your call. I'd also make an appointment with a detective in the campus police department and have a chat about what if she tries this again? He might say that having being arrested might keep her from doing it again, and your response should be, normally, I'd agree with you that a rational person would not do this again. But in addition to the fact that she's my mother and I know her well, the fact that she did it the first time strongly suggests that she's not a rational person. Needless to say, I think that this incident should seal your resolve to go and see with your parents. You should make it clear to the rest of your family that this is a clear and unambiguous demonstration of the reason why, and that if they aren't okay with your decision, you're willing to dismiss them from your life. 2. It sounds from your post like you're doing well in life overall. You're proceeding with your academic program, supporting yourself, and dealing with these stressors by just getting on with it, which is healthy. I know it might not feel that way, but that's what I see as a physician who works with young people like you. When you're going through hell, keep going. Winston Churchill. Fiancée's mom wore her wedding dress to our wedding. Our battle plan mostly worked, though. We made our wedding a costume party so everyone was dressed more wildly than she was, and she wasn't able to steal, any attention. She just looked like another person in a crazy costume and didn't stand out at all. It worked. She also tried to crash our first look. Our wedding party was primed on this bee, so they were on it and stalled her long enough for us to get it done. She made fun of my fiancé while we were taking our wedding party photos and tried to pop one of her favorite humiliation stories. But everyone just ignored her. She did stage a situation where she purposefully missed the bus to the venue and was left behind, and had to be driven over, and how horrible the people on the bus, and fiancé and I by association, all were to leave her behind. We also had a friend read a 20-minute, funny, story over dinner so that there was no room nor time for toasts. Because she is particularly fond of telling stories about how awful and unlovable a child my fiancé was, and also torturing him with this song she made him sing before every single dinner of his entire life. People were done eating by the time the story ended and had begun to get up and dance. If looks could kill, hers would have started a nuclear meltdown. We set our first dance to come on by surprise, and the DJ privately told us what song it would come after, so we literally ran to the dance floor and did it last minute so that she didn't have time to mess things up. Of course, she did not help clean up at the end of the wedding. It was my family and the wedding party who cleaned. But we survived, especially with the help of our very attentive wedding party who fielded her and did what they could to buffer us. Oh, and she never found out our hotel room number, either. We did it. Also, changing to the correct use of fiancé/fiancée, thanks to the people who explained that to me. We tipped our DJ so hard because he was basically corralling my mom around the whole night, keeping her off of us. During dinner, my partner and I stepped out with our photographer for our private wedding photos. Apparently we had been gone too long, and all the guests, her words, were upset, so she decided to go looking for us, in the freaking flower fields. It was a farm, and she walked knee-deep into the fields to find us. Fortunately we weren't there, because our DJ kept sending her in the opposite direction of where we were. We went downhill, DJ said we were up the hill. She thought she found an ally in the DJ, because they spoke the same foreign language, so she spent the night complaining to him and telling embarrassing stories from my childhood. He nodded and dealt with it, but in actuality he used this perceived alliance to protect us from her the whole night. She wanted so badly for the DJ to side with her, to agree that I was spoiled and bossy and wanting my wedding my way. She wanted him to change the playlist we put together because it wasn't insert foreign language enough. He said yep, he'd try to fit it in, and never did. Oops. We gave the DJ like $200 extra in tip on top of 20%. At one point, my partner and I were doing table visits. We knew she'd probably be nasty to us, but we decided it would be right to visit her. We came up to offer her a hello. She turned away in her seat and said something like, "I can't believe you did your wedding this way. You should be embarrassed. Everyone is going to go home out of boredom." But I was ready for that, so was my partner. We shrugged and moved on to the next guest, while she sat there with her arms crossed, huffing and puffing. You know those pretty wedding photos where mom is supposed to help you get dressed for your big day? Or dad is there, adjusting your tie? Yeah, that wasn't a priority for her. She skipped that special moment because she was sneaking into the venue kitchen to hide desserts. We told her the desserts were all set for weeks before the wedding, but she insisted on bringing her own, saying we didn't know what we were doing and she knew what guests really wanted. A lot of it was related to the foreign country our family is from, everything needing to be culturally proper. So she spent veil and gown time sneaking boxes of dessert from the trunk of her car to the venue kitchen. After the wedding, we ended up having like 200 too many dessert cakes. People ate our cupcakes mostly. Her stuff was mostly donated. My wedding photos came back a few months later, and they captured the veil moment with my friends buttoning my dress, and my loving Mill attaching my veil. The people who really loved me, in the right way, were there. She was full-on mom all day and all night. My advice to people with parents is to try to keep your expectations low. We like to think that major events like weddings and babies will make our parents wake up and be sweet for a day, and then we feel hurt when they act just the same. Keep the expectations low. If you're getting married, I can't urge you enough to tell your vendors about your parents. See if they've handled it before. Many have seen the absolute worst of parents come out. Some of them are total pros at navigating the issue, and they'll be your greatest teammate all night. Congratulations on a well-planned wedding. Make sure you jot down your favorite moments, that didn't include her, to help you remember everything. Wishing you both a happy life together. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories delivered to you. Thanks for listening. See you later.